prior to you initiating this system? Because I remember, I don't remember the year that it was, but I remember way back, it hit the newspapers that the grant was so big that West Whiteland got for recycling. And that actually, you were at the time looking at increasing the bag price, and because of the grant, you were able to keep the bag price at that time at $2 a bag.
Yes. There were years that we got $500,000 in grant money from the state. The state, they came out here with our recycling, our solid waste coordinator. They loved how we did the system. And that was the state, the recycling coordinator, whatever the position is in DEP. But over the years, we received so much money. It was crazy. Our system was being, over half was being paid for by the grants. Now, since then, grants have come down, prices have gone up for the bag, and now we have the recycling fee. So, yeah, this system put West Whiteland on the recycling map for how good of a job.
Oh my God, did they dig up all the old employees and politicians for this?
Now, what do you think would happen if we went to containers or just any bag you wanted to put out, and so that everybody in the township, not just the cheaters, were just putting out a Home Depot bag? What is your prediction, since you went through this in the beginning?
Wait, is he
recycling?
a qualified expert?
Recycling.
Expert witness.
They're not going to waste their time rinsing out a mayonnaise jar, and they're going to throw it in the trash. So more and more, because there's more and more trash,
yeah, but
there's less recycling.
I rinse out my mayonnaise jars because if I throw it in the trash, I don't want animals to go in it.
For the amount of tonnage that we drop off, that's going to go up.
Tipping fees.
Tipping fee.
Okay.
So what's nice about this system, the haulers know that it's controlled. Again, not perfect, but it's a controlled system. They know black bags. They know they come by, they can take care of it. I'll give you an example, but they're good. I've never seen them cheat on my street. 2 weeks ago, my brother-in-law was over and I have a black bag in the trash can because we get big crows. They tear up the bags. So we put them in a trash container. And the bag is inside, and our white trash bag from the kitchen goes in. I went down there, the trash wasn't taken. I looked up, what's going on? When he put the white bag in, it covered the West Whiteland bag. They left it there. Next week, he did the right thing. Next week, I brought it back. Yeah. I brought it back down to the curb and it's taken. So the system works. Prices are only going to go up if we change, I think. And the people aren't going to recycle. And it's just not the right thing to do.
What's the right thing to do? Because I know everything.
Lumber. A lot of trim lumber in homes is now recycled white that you can paint. Or you're going to leave it white. I mean, you just can't beat it. Plastic lumber is here to stay. And the more we put out there, the more that they can make that, the more we can sustain a good system for the residents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ridiculous.
I will go with Jenny. She's been waiting for a while. Just go ahead, Jenny.
Teresa's making a face.
First of all, I want to thank the township for putting out this survey and going through this process. I think it's really important. I do hope, and I want to thank Brian Dunn also for putting the work into looking at this after, the residents spoke up about it, that many of them did want to see a change and have this looked at. And I hope that the supervisors continue to look at this. Yes, there's a difference between who wants change and who doesn't, but it's really not that far apart. I do think that, and this has been brought up, that it's probably skewed toward older residents, people who have the time to address this instead of busy families and tend to use one bag or less a week. And there was a gentleman earlier, I'm sorry, I don't recall his name, who brought up that some people are actually cheating the system and, or did you make sure that people who responded are actually using the system? And I think those are the people who actually would have responded because they would see their fees go way up because, and I do know some of these people who responded to the survey and they are not buying trash bags. They're using the recycling part of this, but they are taking their garbage to dumpsters, like something at their work or something at their church. So there is some skewing going on with this. I did want to address some recycling things that were mentioned in this discussion. I know, Raj, as you know, I was at that recycling plant tour with you, and I believe you said that we were told at the tour that West Whiteland that we recycle the highest amount, that it's like 90% of what we put in the recycling actually gets sent to a vendor. This is true. I heard that same thing, but it's not West Whiteland Township because of our system. It's actually that recycling company. That is their high percentage. When he said that, he wasn't referring to West Whiteland system. He was just saying it's Mascaro. Mascaro has that high amount. A lot of that is because they handle number 1 to number 7 plastics, but that has nothing to do with our process. I did ask him the question at our tour about that we're considering changing our system to one where people would not have to buy the bags. And what did he, in his experience and his thoughts on this, would he expect that our recycling would decrease? And his response, and you may recall this, was that he expected that it probably wouldn't be impacted much by changing the systems, that people are recycling and they'll just continue to do so. And then the last bit, somebody had mentioned comments about people don't want to go to the trouble of rinsing containers and they'll stop recycling. And they take all of the recycling and they handle it whether it's rinsed or not. So those are a few things I wanted to remind you of.
And I understand when people say that they're taking their trash to work, but if they're not putting it in our township, it's not coming to our hauler, our tipping fees do not get impacted. And retributive,
Okay,
when
that's
we
some
had
pretzel
here
logic.
the person who does our recycling program, the new person, he said retriever. He said if you go to a flat fee, you are going to see your tipping fees go up, your trash go up. This is somebody who is in the industry telling us that it will go up. I understand people, some of them don't like it, but
He's a little argumentative with people over
system.
things these days.
And when you
It's
say
interesting.
only the older people, most of the folks in my community are not seniors or elders. Most of them did the survey. So as the other nearing 2 or 3 communities, these are all working families. So say that only seniors did this survey, it would be wrong.
Raj, sorry. I just to dial back, I didn't actually say only seniors did it. I'm not a senior and I certainly did it. No, I just said it's very possible that it was skewed in that direction. And when you talk about people who are, aren't using the system right now and sending it to the dump through the dumpsters, like through work or church. But there are people, the other gentleman, Eric, I think is his name, spoke about it. And I don't know how prevalent it is, but I get the impression it's quite prevalent by some of the other comments, that there are people who are actually using our system, throwing the trash out, but not in township bags. And if we pay this slightly higher fee that has been proposed and everybody pays it, then maybe our tipping fees won't go up because people will be paying more. Or if they do go up, we'll be generating that money.
Yeah, I understand, Ginny, your point. You don't like the system, but the majority, and we did the fair.
It's
If
called
we don't like the
conversation.
poll results, we are going to say they were wrong or they're misleading. There were others who said that the polls, you did not talk about tipping fees going up. There were folks who said your only option you have is one bag. We don't use one bag. We use less than one bag. So it's both ways.
Yeah.
And this is
Raj,
the fairest we could
Raj, just to
come
be
of
clear.
getting with opinion. Let me finish. This is the fairest way of getting our opinion. We got this. Next time when we are going back for recall, next time
That's a little
2025 when
combative.
we have to rebid the contract, we'll do the survey
From the
again.
chair.
We'll
Rude,
see where
in
it
fact.
stands. Again, it's not like we are bound to this system forever. We'll see at 2025 where we stand. Maybe the newer generation who's coming in doesn't want to do the bags. They just want to pay. It doesn't matter whether it's higher fee. Because I remember when the first survey was done, Diane Snyder was here, and I came into the room and I was the only person who spoke about getting rid of the system. I said that. I got up here and I said, this is ridiculous. I don't want to go and buy a $250 bag. Charge me $5 for a week, but take whatever I put out. I don't want to deal with it. That was me. And there were others here who were like, no, this is a fair system. This is how it works, and this is why it is.
Okay,
And
Raj, I'm just,
after
I was,
this-
what I was speaking about was just clarifying some facts and
Okay.
just correcting some assumptions. I actually said very little about how I feel personally about this and how this impacts my family. And I really like that all of these views are being considered. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. Thank you so much for going through this process, and I hope the discussion continues.